Did you know, as Henry's getting to minute 4, minute 5 with the eye poke, that he's probably not going to be able to continue?
Yeah.
Do you think he was kind of like gaming the 5 minutes to see if it would come back, or do you think he was just desperate to continue? What do you think of his decision-making in the moment?
I have no idea. I'll let him answer all those questions. Only he can answer those questions.
It was a good competitive...
I don't know if he thought, if I stop here, is this a DQ and no contest, or I don't know what he was thinking, but, or maybe he can't see.
All right, so I really get the feeling that Dana White is convinced that Henry Cejudo tried to take the easy way out during this past Saturday's main event, and to a larger extent, just based on Dana's responses throughout this press conference, I really get the feeling that he doesn't like Henry at all. So in this clip that I just showed you, this is Dana's classic, I don't believe my fighter, but I don't want to call them a liar type response. In fact, this is eerily similar to when he was asked if he thought Arman Tsarukyan was actually too injured to fight after he pulled out of UFC 311.
See how this plays out for him next year.
You feel like he could have competed?
You
feel like he could have competed tonight?
I have no idea. I don't know that. Only he knows that. Only he can answer those questions.
Also, look at the expression on Dana's face as he ponders if Henry was trying to game the system in order to score a DQ win. This is the shit-eating grin of a man that isn't buying what Henry was trying to sell. If you guys watched the video that I uploaded yesterday, then you'll already know what my take on this situation is. I personally don't think that Henry was trying to bait a DQ or a no contest, but it seems like me and Dana might have to agree to disagree here. Also, I love how Dana slyly adds, or maybe he couldn't see, after heavily speculating on if Cejudo was trying to weasel his way out of a loss.
Or maybe he can't see.
And if you guys aren't picking up on these details and you think I'm reaching, then that's okay. But honestly, I feel like I've seen Dana make enough delusional excuses throughout the years, especially for his golden geese like John Jones, Conor McGregor, and Ronda Rousey, to be able to see through when he doesn't have his fighters back.
Obviously, Henry and Song seem like they want to have the rematch. Is that kind of what you're thinking, that they should run that one back? Or?
Not at all.
Not at all? Okay.
Not even a little bit.
Why is that?
I just don't want to see it again.
Okay.
Do you?
No, I thought it was a good fight leading up. It end.
You want to see it again? We should probably do it in a couple months.
It depends on the eye, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, all right, we got your answer on that.
Tell me this smug motherfucker doesn't have disdain for how this fight ended. You cannot convince me that Dana isn't harboring either resentment or frustration or both towards Henry for making the decisions that he did in the cage. Let's not forget here that this is the same guy that defended his choice to match up John Jones with Stipe Miocic solely based on the reasoning that they both wanted to fight each other.
So I have two legends in the sport that wanted to fight each other. These guys are lined up. One guy gets hurt. And this is the fight that they both want. What do you do? You don't show the guys the respect. And I guarantee you this, if Stipe wins, Stipe's going to retire. You know what I mean? This will be Stipe's last fight. So are you the media telling me I should just tell Stipe to fuck off and, good luck to you, Stipe. Right off into sunset. Go fight some fires and that's a wrap for you, buddy.
And then in the case of Song versus Cejudo, where you had both guys agree to a rematch immediately after the fight in the octagon, Dana is taking a hard stance against it. This is truly the smirk that tells 1,000 words, and just based on the expression on his face, it just tells me that he thinks that Henry was trying to score a DQ win, and Dana will do whatever it takes to not give Henry the fight that he wants. Mind you, in this very same press conference, Dana confirmed that the UFC is trying to set up Merab versus Sean O'Malley too because, and I'm not bullshitting you here, they both want to fight each other.
In terms of the bantamweight division, Sean O'Malley looking likely to rematch Merab, right? And we just got the Sandhagen announcement too. I'm kind of curious how that matchmaking came to be. Was the idea always, again, I don't think the O'Malley one is official yet, right? But we're leaning towards that. How did the bantamweight division shake?
They want to fight each other. I think people want to see it.
Now, frankly, I can only speculate as to why Dana's being so resolute and not wanting to give these two a rematch. That honestly makes a lot of sense to make, but seeing as it's Dana White that we're talking about, I think that general pettiness is the most logical answer. And frankly, does a rematch between Song and Cejudo not make about 1,000,000 times more sense than a rematch between Merab and Sean O'Malley? The way that I see it, Dana's still holding on to a personal vendetta that stems from a couple of years ago, but I'll touch on that in just a moment.
A significant eye poke like that, do you believe a point should have been taken?
If you thought it was intentional. If you thought he intentionally poked him in the eye. Do you believe it was intentional? Yes? Why would he poke him in the eye? He was doing pretty well. Yeah, listen, eye pokes are never good, but like you said, they happen a lot. And fights do continue after eye pokes. I don't know. I'd have to look and see how many fights were actually stopped due to an eye poke. Not many.
Now, I'm not totally sure if Dana said this to intentionally make Henry look bad, but this makes Henry look bad. Moreover, Dana doesn't even try to disguise his response here and definitely calls out Cejudo for quitting. And yes, Dana is right when he says that very few fights end due to eye pokes, but I'm just going to throw out a hypothetical here. Do we think that Dana would have taken this same stance if, say, Ronda Rousey got brutally poked in the eye by Amanda Nunes when they fought back in 2016? Or what if Conor McGregor got eye poked by Khabib and wasn't able to continue fighting back in 2018? There is no way that Dana would have taken this same tone with them the same way that he is here with Cejudo. If Ronda or Conor got screwed over by an eye poke, Dana would be talking about how it was such an unfortunate accident that derailed a massive fight, and he would probably declare at the post-fight press conference that he and his team are already working to set up an immediate rematch. However, when it comes to Henry, who is not only not a pay-per-view star, but has also been a pain in the ass for Dana in the past and probably present, the disdain that he has for him is palpable and honestly pretty hilarious. When Dana decides that he doesn't like a fighter, you will never ever hear him say anything nice about them, and there's a 0% chance that he'll ever come to their defense. But on the other hand, when a fighter earns Dana's good graces, he will do backflips in order to preserve their image, even if it ventures into abject absurdity. And for those of you who are unaware as to why Dana doesn't like Henry, then let's do a little bit of a history lesson really quickly. Let's rewind the clocks back to May of 2020. Cejudo was on a legendary 4-fight run, which included beating Demetrius Johnson and TJ Dillashaw at flyweight, and then Marlon Moraes and Dominic Cruz at bantamweight. Honestly, Henry was on top of the world, seeing as during this run he was able to capture and defend his title at both weight classes. But in the weeks leading up to the Cruz fight, Henry was making a ton of public statements about how he was unhappy with how much he was getting paid by the UFC, which is never a good way to make Dana like you. And as we all know by now, after stopping Cruz in the second round, Henry made a shocking announcement in the ring that he was retiring from the sport. And in most cases, a double champ retiring in this fashion would elicit a positive response from fans and fighters alike, but immediately people online were calling this a hardball negotiation tactic. Literally moments after the announcement, you had John Jones saying that Henry was playing the game with Dana, and you had Ariel Helwani spilling inside information about how Henry wanted to get paid more. Not only that, at the damn post-fight press conference, Cejudo made it clear that money talks and he'd be willing to come back if the UFC increased his pay.
Is there anything that would make you reconsider? I mean, if Dana comes to you and says, wait a minute, let's fatten up this check a little bit. You know, all the cringe is working. People are buying into the king of cringe. We need you around.
Yeah, he knows the number. He knows the number. And but I really do want to walk away. But like I said, man, money talks. Money talks. But I'm happy with the UFC. You know, I want to start that new chapter in my life. And
I'm sorry, but this was a dumb move. To be so transparent and obvious about trying to hardball the UFC while also throwing two divisions into chaos is admittedly a ballsy play, but there is just no way that Dana was going to take kindly to it. And then for the next 2 years, Henry would continue to make public statements where he revealed he was negotiating with the UFC while also complaining that Dana was trying to underpay him. Then when Cejudo finally made his comeback, he was given an immediate title shot against then bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling. And even though he was so close to getting the judge's decision, he just didn't do enough to get the win, which is a shame for Henry, because if he was able to clutch up just one more round in that fight, then we would have seen the greatest fake retirement negotiation tactic play in the history of the UFC. He probably would have gotten a fight with Sean O'Malley, and that fight would have sold pretty well, and in all likelihood his plan to get paid more would have paid off. However, fast forward to 2025, and now Cejudo's on a 3-fight losing streak where his base payment of $150,000 is lower than that of Mackenzie Dern's, who gets paid $250,000 per fight. And let's be real here, a huge reason for Henry's current pay is directly tied to the shenanigans that he tried to pull with Dana, and this is Dana getting back at him for being a pain in the ass. And now that I think about it, it does make a lot of sense for Dana to believe that Henry was trying to game the system during his fight with Song, seeing as Henry tried to game the system to increase his pay by faking his retirement. In Dana's perspective, it's probably not far-fetched in the slightest to think that a guy who faked retiring for 2 years would also fake being injured in order to steal a much-needed win so that he can get back into the win column. And seeing as Henry is almost certainly on Dana's bad side, it is not shocking at all that Dana doesn't seem to have any sympathy for how the fight on Saturday ended. Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, I think it's really funny how Dana continues to show his blatant favoritism, and I guess in this case unfavoritism, towards the fighters he does and doesn't get along with. We've all seen how petty this guy can be, whether it be towards Ariel Helwani or Oscar De La Hoya, but it's always a sight to see when he develops a personal beef with one of his fighters. We've seen it in the past in cases like Frank Shamrock, Tito Ortiz, and Francis Ngannou, where he'll do everything in his might to erase these guys from UFC history, and even though it doesn't seem like he hates Henry nearly as much as he hates those guys, it's pretty clear to me that when Henry cries, Dana laughs. Anyways, that is the video for today. Definitely let me know what you think about Dana's press conference responses. Do you agree that he hates Henry, and do you think Cejudo should retire now that he's picked up his 3rd loss in a row? As always, if you like the video, then like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Now, would I like to see Henry Cejudo retire? Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's beaten me, flyweight champion, defending the flyweight belt, bantamweight champion, defending the bantamweight belt. That's more than half the motherfuckers on the roster are ever going to do. And yes, I know it's such good money. It's easy to train 8 weeks and go out there and fight, but man, I almost went blind.